Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast presented by Cisco. 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and joining me today is 49ers team reporter Lindsay Polares and special guest from the Arizona Cardinals, Craig Grialou. Craig, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Amazing. So both teams are gearing up for the 2024 season finale this Sunday. So let's dive right into this Week 18 contest. Lindsay, to start, it looks like quarterback Brock Purdy will be sidelined and Josh Dobbs will be taking over as the Niners quarterback for this final game. Could you tell us a little bit more on Purdy's injury and how has Dobbs been preparing for this role?
Yeah, so Brock Purdy is dealing with a right elbow contusion, also dealing with some nerve inflammation. I think just given where the 49ers are at this point of the season, this is the last game of the year. Postseason is not on the table for this year. So, yes, the 49ers are going with Josh Dobbs. Head coach Kyle Shanahan talked a little bit about his decision. Obviously, Josh Dobbs has that dual threat ability, whereas Brandon Allen is more of a traditional pocket passer. He said that he's viewed both quarterbacks as his number two this year. There is some decision making that went into what the offensive line will look like in Week 18. I know last week Colton McKivitz, the starting right tackle, was able to suit up. He has not practiced the last 2 days, so it is going to be interesting to see where the pass protection is. Obviously, the line did very well in Week 17 against the Detroit Lions, but you definitely want a quarterback that can extend plays, and Josh Dobbs certainly brings that. He has been with the team all season long, had his first appearance in Week 17, and he's going to be the guy suiting up for this season finale. We heard from guys like George Kittle, Jawan Jennings, who are all very excited to see what he brings to the field this week. For Jawan Jennings especially, he's a former teammate of Dobbs, played a couple seasons with him at Tennessee. Who's definitely looking forward to playing with Dobbs in the season finale.
All right, yeah, now looking at the Cardinals offense, Craig, Trey McBride has had an exceptional season, including making the Pro Bowl and breaking records for tight ends. How do you think McBride will approach this final game, and what does he need to do to build momentum heading into the offseason?
Well, the one thing he doesn't have to worry about is that he has got his first receiving touchdown of the season, and he did that last week. So that is crossed off the list of things that needed to happen before the end of the season. But he has been the guy for much of this season, and he's darn near close to breaking the single season tight end record for receptions in the league. We'll see what Brock Bowers does with the Las Vegas Raiders coming up on Sunday. But it's, again, what we've heard all week long is making sure you finish on a positive note. Obviously, the goal is to win, but to keep stacking those performances, even though momentum doesn't carry over into the offseason, confidence does, and just continuing to build confidence, especially we forget McBride is still relatively young. It's his third season, but he hasn't been a full season starter for very many years in this league. So he still feels that he can get better.
Now, while we're taking a look at tight ends, George Kittle has had another standout season, reaching 1,000 yards for the fourth time in his career. Given the lack of playoff pressure, how do you expect Kittle to approach this final game of the season, and what role will he play in helping set the tone for this game, Lindsay?
Yeah, I think with George Kittle, one of my favorite things that he says, and he says it a lot, is that he goes into every game thinking it's a winnable game and that the 49ers are going to do what's necessary to win. That's not going to change in Week 18, despite what this season looks like and kind of has panned out to be. So expect that same competitive fire from George Kittle. Like you mentioned, he's already hit that 1,000-yard mark for the fourth time in his career. He's one of 5 tight ends in NFL history to be able to hit that 1,000-yard receiving for 4 seasons in their career. So a huge congratulations to him. He was named one of 4 Pro Bowlers for the 49ers. But for him, it is really, like Craig said, stacking the success that he has found this season and playing to win, playing for pride. He is a person that reps that 49ers logo harder than really anyone else. And that isn't going to waver in week 18, regardless of kind of what's at stake for this team. And I think he has been a really big source of inspiration and leadership for the rest of this team that takes the field. So yeah, I think expect a lot more competitive fire, that the George Kittle isms that we hear every single week. And I think he's very much rooting on guys around him that are very close to those really big benchmarks, like Jawan Jennings, who is 77 yards of that 1,000 yards receiving for the first time in his career. So just expect more of the same from George Kittle in the best way possible.
Awesome. Yeah, we're talking Pro Bowlers, and Pro Bowl rosters were announced yesterday. Alongside George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Kyle Juszczyk, and Fred Warner were also selected to the 2025 Pro Bowl, with Leonard Floyd, Deommodore Lenoir, Brock Purdy, and Trent Williams named as alternates. For Arizona, safety Buda Baker made the cut with Trey McBride, and the Cardinals also got three alternates: kick returner DJ Dallas, left tackle Paris Johnson Jr., and kicker Chad Ryland. So, with it being the final game of the season, Craig, how much motivation do you expect from honestly each side to finish strong in this finale? Tell me about the extra emphasis on ending the season with a win, especially with what's at stake for these players individually.
Yeah, there's no guarantee that there is a next season for a lot of players. You can play your way into the league, remain in the league, or you can play your way out of the league. And I think that's something that's been preached all week long, really all season long, to make sure that each and every week you bring it as a coach, as a player. For the Cardinals specifically, a win on Sunday, you double your win total from a year ago. You finished 500 within the NFC West after not winning a single division game a year ago. And then I think it's important to send the fans home happy. It's the final home game of the regular season. A win on Sunday. That's 6 wins at State Farm Stadium this season, which has not been done since 2015. So, again, there's some tangible aspects to get a victory on Sunday moving into the offseason and hopefully building upon how you finish a regular season going into the offseason.
And Lindsay, how important is this game for evaluating the depth and young talent on the Niners roster? Are there any particular players you're looking at to make a statement in this game?
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a twofold game for younger players, especially. We heard the veteran players talk a lot about how the rookie wall is a real thing that younger players have to push through. And this is the longest season of football that they have played so far in their careers. So being able to play at a high level, like we keep talking about finishing on a high note, is a real thing that you want to see from them this late in the year. And I think you talk about younger players, you've got wide receiver Ricky Pearsall. He gets to go back to his home state, play at State Farm Arena. He told me it's his first time actually playing there. He's going to have 55 members of his family just on his mom's side that are going to watch him play. So this is a really big career moment for him. And he's coming off his career best performance in week 17. He had over 140 yards receiving, a touchdown. He wants to keep stacking those successes. Same goes for Jacob Cowing, also an Arizona native. He has been the 49ers punt returner this year. He wants to get more reps at wide receiver. Then you've got guys like Malik Mustafa and Renardo Green, who have been really integral parts of the 49ers secondary this year due to injuries. They just want to keep that pace and momentum that they have had for the rest of the year, head into the offseason with a lot of confidence. And I think this is the time to do it. Week 18, it's your last go at it. So yeah, let's get it done.
Definitely. And we've been talking about it all morning now. This is the 2024 regular season finale. So, Craig, what's the biggest takeaway you want to look for in this final game that will help both teams as they look ahead to 2025?
I think a key is going to be who takes advantage of their opportunities, who takes advantage of their snaps. No James Conner this week for the Cardinals, so Michael Carter will get another opportunity for the second straight week to kind of fill those shoes. Is he someone that this team looks forward to next season? And also keeping an eye on Kelvin Beacham's status as far as the Cardinals left tackle is concerned. He's been dealing with a knee issue. If he can't go, then it would likely be rookie Christian Jones getting the start and another opportunity to showcase what he's capable of doing. He got one series in last week against the Rams, but obviously if Beach is not able to go, then that's even a bigger load for Christian Jones, one of those draft picks from a year ago that has been waiting for an opportunity. And that's, as Jonathan Gannon likes to say, are you maximizing your opportunity when it presents itself. And this on Sunday is another opportunity for a lot of young players.
Definitely. And Lindsay, what's your biggest takeaway from this final game before looking ahead to 2025?
I think it's just effort level. This is a team that has faced a ton of injuries this year. And one thing that the veterans have continued to preach is that there's still plenty of playmakers left on this roster. So it is just about finishing the year on a high note. The 49ers didn't get the season that they wanted, but there is still opportunity to play for pride, play for the logo, play for the fans. Obviously, they're playing on the road, but the faithful are such an enthusiastic fan base. You can expect a lot of them to be there in Arizona, especially since it is a close West Coast game. So I think it is really about just finishing strong in 2024.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good one this Sunday. Thank you, Craig, for joining us today. Faithful, don't forget to tune in to the Niners vs. Cardinals game on Fox at 1:25 p.m. Pacific time. Subscribe to First and 10 presented by Cisco for all of your 49ers updates and turn on the notifications for any breaking news. Thanks for tuning in.